Hi, welcome to Ask Dawn and Donna. I'm Donna, and that's Dawn. And today we want to talk about moms. And Dawn lovingly say mums. I guess it's Canadian. I'm super American,
Oh, really?
so I'm like mom. Um, but So we're also filming this during Cancer season, which, if any of my astrology nerds out there, is the Divine Mother. So this is the cardinal water sign, which is the womb, the beginning. And everyone is connected to their mother because that is who we are inside of. So that's our first inception of being nurtured and that feeling of love and containment, of safety. And we all have varied relationships with our mothers. Some are more complicated than others. So that's what we want to discuss, like kind of we looked at our fathers. Now let's look at how the Divine Mother and our mothers that embody that archetype of the Divine Mothers, including us females and males, and how those relationships either run smoothly or maybe more tumultuous. If you think of the Divine Mother as the ocean, the ocean is like the mother energy. The ocean is wild and giving and friendly, but it could wear stuff down, and it could, if you don't read it right, if you don't honor it, it could
You have
pull you under. So,
yes.
um,
God, you have so many goodies. I love it when you come up with these things. The ocean, that's going to stick with me. I love it.
I'm just parroting with all the stuff that I've learned over the years in various ways. Nature is so this is an aside, but I really feel that this moment in time where all the stuff we know from our ancestors and nature and everything in our words that have come from like hundreds of years ago, when people are more in tune with nature and how it shows up in our verbiage and our words and how we're disconnected. Now we get this opportunity to bring all that ancient stuff into this modern life and blend them up in a way that gives us more power. So instead of denying the past and our natural ways and being all future and technology and cold, we're combining them to build this beautiful thing together. So I digress. So
I love that. Well, I can add to that. I believe that Mother Gaia is actually healing, and that as she heals, it is the divine is asking and gifting all the women of the world to their healing properties. And no biggie, one woman at a time, we're just going to heal this world, right?
Yeah, and it does start like the healing with our fathers and the divine,
the masculine, feminine, the whole balance.
To heal ourselves, we got to look for our mothers. So yes, sorry, talk about your mom.
That's okay. I'd like to start with my mom. And oh, Patsy. She is singularly the strongest, smartest, funniest pain in the ass I know. So I come by it very, very honestly. And another beautiful thing of COVID is that it's allowed me to actually come back to myself. There's been this, I used to be trapped in my apartment because of depression and could barely leave it. And now that this time of COVID and my level of healing through our work, the Soul Awakening Method, COVID has been the gift that has allowed me to come back to myself and show me that I'm not the black sheep of the family. I am still very much my mother's daughter. And if anybody knows Patsy, they know that she is the queen of clean. She has OCD, like we're talking like white towels, and like you can tell if you move the dishcloth on the on the sink. Yeah, and I don't roll like that. And yet in COVID, I have this amazing fascination with clean windows. I just decluttered my closet, and today I cleaned the top of my cupboards. She would be so proud. It's just and it's been really fun to have meaningful conversations with her about so many things during COVID. And even if we haven't been, she only lives like an hour and a half away from me, but we actually don't spend a lot of time together. But she has always been my absolute anchor to the earth.
Mm.
And, you know, I've always had judgments as well, like that she doesn't love me the right way, that she's not emotional enough, that she doesn't really understand my sensitive soul, where, you know, she's a let's drop that shit and move on, right? Thank God for her. I would not have been able to be this sensitive soul and survive this world without her. And clearly I chose her for that. Definitely not just for the clean windows.
No.
So tell us about your mom.
Well, my mother and I are we've always had like, probably, it hasn't been enmeshed, but too much of a connection. I was born on her birthday.
Oh,
So
wow.
we share birthdays, we look alike, we have the same height.
You're both Pisces? Both
We're
Pisces?
both Pisces and
Dreamers?
dreamers, but
Sorry.
introverts and all sorts of things. But what I rejected in my mother during the 80s, and what I like, some days when I'm like, oh my God, I am my mother. I didn't want to be, she always just wanted to be married and have children and be a housewife. She didn't want to work. She's had part-time jobs here and there, but that's what she did. She just was a mother. And I was like, oh God, I don't want to just be a mother, blah, blah, blah. I had this very negative sort of, and it's just really because I felt like, oh, I think it was more about empowering women and like women's lib and all that. And it wasn't like, the time I grew up, it was like women, which definitely needs to be equal, but it was more about how to emulate what a man is doing in order to get respect.
Right, right.
Dress like a man, do this, like be as tough as, other than embracing the female archetype and being feminine, and how much power that has about giving birth, and how, there's so, females are so powerful. So I looked at my mother's role of just I would downgrade her as just being a housewife or just being a mother. And not until I got older and started to see where those things were coming from. I think it's natural that as a teenager, I rejected both my father and my mother. Whatever they believed, I did the exact opposite, because I knew better and I was going to have this whole different thing. And then, 10 years later after that, I'm like, oh, this is a real world. Let's figure it out. And now I've embraced those qualities, and I saw how much time and effort and how strong and loving she was, and how when I deny those things in myself because of her, because I want to act out, it was really, again, denying of myself. And she has given me amazing blessings of just everything. She's funny and smart, and our family was always close, and and she was a trooper. My parents were divorced, as I mentioned in the other ones, and she really was her parents loved my dad. So they were so upset that she divorced him. It was her choice to move on. The relationship wasn't good. She didn't want it. It just wasn't, they were too much in love. It was a bad relationship because it was volatile, because my dad was jealous, and she was just over it. When she told my grandparents that her parents said she was going to get a divorce, they were so mad. They couldn't believe, they thought my dad hung the moon, and oh my God, what is she doing? So, and she never revealed to them all of their problems, because she felt it was them, and she still wanted them to have a good relationship. So I think I get that as well. I can be very so emotional and so have my own experience, but I also can pull back and be like, I don't want my experience to affect other people. They need to have their own. So, and a lot of times I felt that was a weakness of hers, but really I think it's a strength that she was way more emotionally balanced in that area than I was. Yes. So I really do love my mother, and I value everything that she's taught me. And even if it hasn't been exactly what I thought, because I'm very much into thinking I know best for her. I've respected that she has her own life. And again, she's in this world and she has her own life to kind of work out. And I'm grateful that she's my mother and that she allows me so much freedom to do whatever I want to do. She's been immensely supportive. Not one time in my life she's told me what to do or how to do it, which I looked at negatively as well for a long time.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Like everyone else's mother is telling them what to do. Why don't you tell me what to do?
That's hilarious.
So I don't think mothers can win. I don't think
well, no, this is the beauty of mother, isn't it?
Yes.
Mother literally is the other.
Mm-hmm.
And how our rejection of our mothers actually leads us to our divine pathway. Because while you felt yours didn't tell you what to do enough, I felt mine did way too much. I come by my opinionated focus as well, by the way, very honestly. And she used to say, and she's very fearful. She's very fearful from where she comes from. And I'm a big dreamer. I'm a big vision person. And I'm like, well, this didn't work. So let's solve the rest of the world by doing this. It took me, so many torturous years in my 20s to figure out what job I was going to do and how it was going to fulfill and be all the answers and all the right things. And I would be like, oh, I want to be an architect. Oh, I want to be an international translator. And she's like, you can't do that. She's like, as if you're going to speak Mandarin. She really is very funny. And it's almost like we have to deny our mother to truly step into who we are. And I find it fascinating that both you and I don't have children. And I imagine your mother really dislikes that and really wanted grandchildren. And whereas my mother, she didn't. Oh, I'm so glad. Okay, because my mother
happy either way. She just
cool. Mine too. My mom actually was of the thought, she actually tells us and says out loud to virtual strangers that given the choice, she would never have children ever.
See, that's so funny. My mom loved being a mother. She could never imagine anything other than that, but she never once has ever even asked me when I'm going to have kids or do I want kids.
Oh, that's amazing.
She's like, it's your life, it's your choice.
Where my mom was like, yeah, don't do it. Don't get married, don't have kids, have a life, travel. And yet it's so interesting. I went on this big trip by myself to Europe a few years ago, and she's so stuck in fear. Like, I will call her from like Greece and she'll tell me about her whole day and what she did and not ask me anything about Greece. It's like, hello, I'm in Greece. I'm like, you want to talk about that? No, can't do it. Doesn't want to do it. And I don't know what that's about. Like, I think she's really proud of me. I think she loves that I'm leading the life she really wanted. Mm-hmm. But I think it's really hard for her to say that. Yeah. But I feel really, really lucky that I have the best mom in the world. She is, she's amazing. She's amazing. And, I am so like her. I talk to strangers everywhere. I overshare. And I remember as a kid, every time we went to the grocery store, like, oh, Mom, do we have to talk to this person? And you innately become your mother. And the beauty of that, it's so fascinating.
It is. It really does go back to taking all of them, you're half of them as well. I'm a half of my mother, and taking all of those attributes, whether I wanted to pretend or deny or whatever, and then owning them, and then I could see what I want to do with it. So it's not just an immediate rejection because I don't want to be like it. As I matured, and even continue to mature and develop, like, okay, I I have that opinion because of this experience with my mom. Oh, okay. Well, that's not true anymore. How can I make it my own? And then really see, does it fit for me or not? And not just have my life be a reaction to my parents, you know, it's just really, and appreciate them for being who they are. And knowing, again, my role is not to agree or disagree with them, to help them in any way. She's my mother, so it's her job to worry about me and do all these things that she's going to do, whether I say don't or not. And it's really just my job to reflect back how much I love and appreciate her. And that's all. And when she does pass away, which probably will be before me, but I don't know, I'm not a seer like that. I am going to know that our relationship, like, I'm good with her as who I am inside of me. And I'm also good with our relationship, and I love her. And I've been able to tell her that I love her, and she knows it and feels it and can experience it. So that's really, because I think once my mother passes, I will be an orphan in that way. And I want her to know, and I do try to tell her, and after this, I'll probably tell her again, of how much I appreciate her being my mother, and everything, and all of the past was just my way to grow up, and that I am thankful that she allowed me to be a jerk to her and do all this stuff unconditionally, to allow the space for that growth to happen, that she just did. It wasn't like, oh, I'm over you.
Now you're gonna make me cry again.
Well, it's parents. Parents.
It is. Well, you know, they say, well, I believe that the loss of our mom, that our mothers are our anchor to the universe. They're our viewpoint of everything, from the minute we're born to at least the first half of our lives. So I was seeing all things exactly like Patsy saw them until I was 40. And and I blamed her for a lot of it. And I really believe the loss of our mother leaves the biggest mark. And I love her divinely. She really has been my saving grace through all of the stuff, that even if I felt she was loving me wrong, that I know she loves me. Like, there's been no doubt about that ever either, that I've been really lucky in both parents, knowing how much they love me. She sacrificed so much for all three of us. And my greatest hope is that I get to lessen her burdens in the years going forward.
Aww.
I really hope that that I reach a level of abundance that can help her out. I really hope we get to have the fun, the real fun that I envisioned for us, you know? And I really feel that, you know, we have really deep, meaningful conversations all the time. And I feel empowered at the thought that she definitely knows how much I love her.
Oh, that's
I
beautiful.
don't hide it. I express it all the time. And I don't think I'm going to have that deep pit of regret at her passing. She will know how loved she is. Aww. And I will do everything in my power to ensure she knows that right up to the minute she dies. Even though I am convinced that she's going to wait to die when I leave the room, and that's going to piss me off.
It wouldn't see, would it?
I have a lot of feelings about death, as I am now training to be a death doula, but that's another video as well. Yeah.
But I think it's important that, like, when our mothers pass, and even now before they do, is like, we're this divine mother and the divine mother archetype, and filling ourselves up with this cup of love. And I think in this human existence, for myself, I'll speak, and I think it's universal, but really that my pathway was to become whole through filling up myself with, first reacting to it based on who my mother was and my father was, and then integrating that in, and then knowing that I can parent myself without them being around, and that what was needed to happen to fill my cup. Because if I'm always going to them one way or another, when they are gone, or when my mother's gone, then where would I get that from? And it's that search is like, whatever you think, whatever a search that is fruitless, I think is, I have that experience with my mother, and I can integrate it and feel it in a way that it could fill me up always, whether she's here or not. And then I could start to bring that out into the world, because the mother for me and my mother was really just purely love. Everything she did was love. Even if I judged it one way or another, I know that that was her intention. And that is really who I am, that I haven't wanted to fully embrace for a multitude of reasons. But one, I saw the feminine archetype is, if I give that much love out, I may be hurt, or this or that. There was contingencies. And now I've shifted that through a lot of my spiritual work, but also through the soul awakening method and some certain things that I've done. Like, okay, I don't need to have any sort of judgments. I mean, some judgments I didn't even know I had, but these core anchor beliefs that I cleared up that kept me from, oh no, I can give love unconditionally outward. And it doesn't matter if people step on it, spit on it, stab me,
Right.
Cool. I'm good at my core. I'm who I am. So that is another value of my mother's, I think I will take on, that she's just who she is, kind of tenaciously. And like, I'm like, oh, really? You could be a little up it, or
Oh, thank God for Patsy's tenacity. Thank God for that.
I'm like,
Otherwise,
okay, you're just you. And now stepping in and being like, okay, I'm just going to be me no matter what happens. And I don't have to protect myself in any way, because I'm connected into that divine source now that fills me up. I don't need other people's opinions like I used to. Right. So that's my divine mother talk. So again, do you have any final words, Dawn? Or
if I do, I am actually short of them, which is so odd. So we should just end on that note, shouldn't we?
Okay, yes. So if you have any topics or questions that you would like us to discuss, you can email us at askdawnanddonna@gmail.com. Please subscribe and like the video if you like it, or leave any comments below about any insights or anything that moved you, or anything you would like to discuss. And all the information about anything we shared in this video, if we mentioned, I can't remember if we mentioned any other external resources, but if there are external resources, they'll be in the description below. And we'll see you next time. Have a good afternoon.